Hi everyone. I don't really do a lot of videos like this because I usually try to stay out of dramatic things, but this is something that I feel like needs to be addressed. I have addressed it before, kind of, in like a couple videos, but this is a further, like, more long-form video to address this, and also another issue that is slightly similar to the topic that I have talked about previously in other videos. So, what am I even talking about? I'm talking about the toxicity problem within the therian community and just alterhuman community in general. Because a lot of people don't realize it, but like, the therian and alterhuman communities on the internet can seem very toxic, and I really don't know how many people actually realize how toxic the online therian and alterhuman communities can be. Because a lot of the stuff that is actually toxic is seen as a norm within these communities because it's just something that we do as a community. So like, but I recently, after seeing a video that a friend of mine had sent me, my whole view on this changed, and I realized just how toxic a lot of these videos were. I used to make videos like this actually on my main account, and I look back and I realize, wow, I kind of realized how toxic I realized how toxic I was. I realized how toxic these trends that these communities have, like, it's toxic. And nobody seems to realize it. Like, sure, some people actually realized with one of the trends. Some people actually realized with one trend. One. But there's still a whole lot issues with the thing in regards of that trend that got fixed. So might as well at least get into the video now and actually go and talk about it. So when I say that the online therian and alterhuman communities are toxic, I mean when it comes to interacting with fakers and antis. I might as well start with the biggest issue that actually got addressed by who some of you may know by Therian Territory. I do not support Therian Territory in their actions at the moment. I'm just going to say that yes, they did address the issue that I'm about to talk about. That's all I'm gonna say. Not saying that I support them or anything, because I still don't have a side when it comes to Therian Territory after what happened. But yeah, so let's talk about fakers in the alterhuman and therian community. So people say there's been like I don't know how to explain it. There's been a couple trends that have gone around recently where people are like, do little text of like another person talking saying, hey, I'm a therian too. And then the person in the video asks the non-existent person, oh cool, I am too, what are your stereotypes? And then they have the non-existent person say, oh, I chose, and then leave it blank, because it could be like anything, like fox, cat, wolf, a lot of the common stereotypes. And then like the original version of these trends where it's the person's like, yeah, no, or like runs away, or like leaves them and like doesn't interact with them anymore, is like super rude to them. Because it's like seen as super rude. Like in this community, it was seen as something completely normal, because that was seen as the normal reaction to people who said that they chose their stereotypes, because those were considered people who were faking alterhumanity or therianthropy. So people considered that like a normal thing. Nobody realized how toxic or rude that was. But recently, I have seen videos of people who are actually realizing how toxic and rude these original trends were. And instead of doing what the trends originally were, like either originally having your hand out and going like this, which was like one of the more recent trends, or like having your hand out, backing away, and leaving the screen, and like people have actually been trying to change that trend where instead of backing away, they slowly take their hand away, but then they're like like actually nice to the faker and actually explain to them what therianthropy truly is instead of being rude and backing away. Like, that, I did a version of that trend recently, actually, so, but yeah, so that's been dealt with, but the whole calling people fakers is still actually a really big thing in the community. I was playing a therian game on Roblox the other day, and there were some antis in the game, and when they were using quote unquote our logic, or at least the logic they think we have for our identities, someone straight up says, no, that's fake therian's logic. And I said, fake therians aren't a thing. You can't subconsciously fake your identity. And it's usually just misinformed kids. This person straight up goes up to me and says, if you had voice chat, I would scream at you right now. Like, despite the fact that we have fixed trends slightly now so that they're not rude and toxic when it comes to fakers, there's still people who believe they exist. I was literally on the r/therian Reddit page this morning, and I saw several people talking about fakers. Like, there is a person on there that I know knows that fake therians are a thing, because they had literally commented on a post saying you can't subconsciously fake your identity, which is where I got that from. But yeah, there are people who know that fake therians don't actually exist and you can't subconsciously fake your identity. There is a way. I'm gonna get into this later after I explain how fake therians technically are not a thing. Because a lot of times what people call fake therians are little kids who will see these videos on YouTube, see people talking about their experience with therianthropy, and they will think that that's what therianthropy is. They'll think it's quads, they'll think it's past lives, they'll think it's gear, they'll think it's being connected to an animal. Well, yada, yada, yada. Because a lot of kids will see these videos on the internet and be like, hey, that's cool, I'm gonna become a therian, because they think that therianthropy is when you do quads, or wear gear, or have a past life as an animal, or feel connected with an animal. Because that's what the internet has led them to believe. The online alterhuman therian community has led little kids to believe something about therianthropy that therianthropy is not. I get it. When people don't know what therianthropy truly is, but call themselves therian anyways, it can be frustrating. I know. I've felt that before. I understand that it can be frustrating when someone doesn't understand despite them calling themselves a therian. It's frustrating. But we really should know that the online community is the reason behind this. I've seen a lot of people who think it's just because they refuse to do their own research. I'm not sure if they realize, I have no clue if they actually realize that it's the online community's fault, but from what they say, it seems as though they really don't know that it is our fault. It is our fault that kids think this. It's our fault that people are misinformed. Because most of the online therian community will post videos of us doing quads, wearing gear, talking about our past lives, talking about our stereotypes. Our content on the internet is what causes all this misinformation, because little kids, and it's also slightly little kids' fault as well. Because, it is slightly our fault, but it is also the little kids' fault. Because the little kids see this stuff and think, oh yeah, I'm a therian, and because of I do quads, or I wear gear, or I believe I have a past life as an animal, or I feel connected with this animal. They think that because they see stuff like that from the online therian community. It's slightly their fault because they don't comprehend that they probably should go and do more research about this. before assuming that they are a therian. And so, although it is kind of our fault because our videos of doing quads, wearing gear, talking about our past lives are what's causing the kids to have misinformation like this about what they think therianthropy is, and the kids not comprehending that they should most likely go and research about this more before calling themselves a therian. That's what's causing these fakers, the online videos, and the kids not being smart enough to be able to know that they should probably go do research further after figuring out about therianthropy in the therian community. So, like, sure, it is slightly our fault because, yeah, all the content that the therian community focuses on online is what people assume therianthropy is, because a lot of us don't talk about what therianthropy is enough to the point where people are going to actually understand what it is. Because all people see when they see therians online is people wearing gear, people doing quads, people talking about past lives, people saying, oh, that this is their stereotype or something. That's what causes the misinformation. I hardly even see it. Like, as someone who constantly has therian content on their For You page on YouTube, I hardly ever see videos explaining what therianthropy is. I hardly see them posted by the people that I follow. So, like, we act like some of us act like fake therians are bad people because they think that therianthropy is something it's not, probably because they didn't go do the research. But does anyone ever realize why they never went and did the proper research? One, they're all kids. All the fakers are little kids who don't know any better. They see something online, think it's cool, and decide to start calling themselves and decide to start being that thing or calling themselves that thing, even though they know nothing about it outside of what they see of it on the internet. Because they're little. They don't know any better than to see something and not decide to do any further research about it. Like, we shouldn't be getting mad about haters. Fakers. We shouldn't be getting mad about fakers. We shouldn't be calling them out. We shouldn't be harassing them. We shouldn't even be calling them fakers in the first place, because they are not fakers. They're just misinformed kids who don't know what they're doing. They don't know any better than to see something online. And they don't think to go do the proper research about it, because they're little kids. Like, people need to learn to actually not harass little children or call people fakers, because fakers don't exist. It's just misinformed kids who don't know any better. And we as a community need to understand that, and whenever we see someone who calls themselves a therian, or for the wrong reasons, like they call themselves a therian because they wear gear, they call themselves a therian because they do quadrobics, they call themselves a therian because they feel connected to an animal, they call themselves a therian because they have a past life as an animal, or they say they chose their stereotypes. Like, we as a community shouldn't harass these people or call them out. We should just educate them on what therianthropy truly is. And then it's up to the person whether or not they're going to accept this information or believe it. Like, I've gotten a comment before where someone said they had been talking to someone who had chose their stereotypes, and this person and the person who commented said that they had tried to explain to the person who chose their stereotypes that you cannot choose your stereotypes and tried to explain to them what therianthropy truly was. But the person didn't want to accept the information about what therianthropy truly is. So, like, it's not our fault if the misinformed people who think they're therians decide to disregard our information that we give them. That's their choice, whether or not they want to accept the real information about therianthropy. Like, it's not our fault. The best we can do is just tell them what therianthropy truly is, and then they can take it from there, whether or not they want to believe it. So, yeah, that's basically it. Fakers don't exist, and it's really just misinformed kids, and we should learn to educate them instead of calling them out and harassing them. And then it's whether or not the people, the quote-unquote fakers, want to accept the information or not. But there is one contradictory to all the information that I just started yapping about. There is kind of a way to fake therianthropy and alterhumanity. Stupid watch notifications. And I'm going to take this as personal experience from, well, not personal experience, like secondhand view. I'm trying to see. I forgot what it's called. Secondary source view. The view as someone who is a secondary source. So try to explain this. So I have a friend, a younger friend who is a therian, and and there's a kid at their school who had told my friend and one of my other friends, hence that they were a therian. But then my friends had overheard this person telling another one of my friends that they weren't a therian, even though they had told my neighborhood, hence that this person was in fact a therian. That, my friends, is the only way to actually fake therianthropy. When you 100% know you are not a therian or any other non-physical identity in the alterhuman community. If you 100% know that you are not a therian, otherkin, alterhuman, etc., if you've done all the research and everything, and know that for a fact you are not a therian, otherkin, or whatever, but still decide to call yourself a therian, otherkin, a therian, or like an otherkin, and pretend and do stuff like we're here to connect with your stereotypes, or pretend to have shifts, that is faking therianthropy. When you 100% know that you are not a therian because you've done all the research and know for a fact you are not a therian, but decide to call yourself one anyways, that is truly faking therianthropy. But here's the thing, you rarely ever see this. You rarely ever see people who 100% for a fact know that they are not therians, but yet still call themselves therians, despite the fact that they know they're 100% not a therian. You hardly ever see actual fakers. The people that we call fakers are literally just misinformed children. They're not fake. Fakers don't really exist, or at least few of them exist. Because most people outside of the community are misinformed, so it's hard to find people who are actually educated on therianthropy, know 100% that they're not a therian, but still call themselves a therian. And but yeah, like I said, fakers don't exist outside of the very few people who actually know for 100% that they're not a therian, but call themselves one anyways. So yeah, fakers just technically don't really exist very much. At least not to what we think it is. fakers by our definition, by the community's definition, don't exist. There are fakers, but not by the definition that we have of fakers. Our definition of fake therians are not fake therians. They're misinformed people who think they're therians for the wrong reasons. And the community needs to accept this. I know there's going to be people that probably won't accept this. They won't accept the fact that fake therians aren't real, at least by our definition. And even though there are technical fake therians, there are so few of them that they basically don't exist. So now that that section's out of the way of me going on and yapping all about how fake therians technically don't exist, I'm going to yap about the other part of the toxicity. When it comes therians interacting with haters. Oh god. Now, this isn't a problem just in the therian and alterhuman community. I've seen this in the furry fandom online as well. But I might as well just talk about it because I see it a lot more with the therian community, because that is a lot more the content I see. I don't really see it all the time with the furry fandom. So basically what I mean by his toxicity is whenever I'm going to talk about some of the comments from this YouTuber. I don't know his name, but he likes to make fun of therians. He likes to call them cringe. He likes to call them weird. Like, that's all he says. He just says they're weird and cringe. I don't think... Sure, he doesn't understand the therianthropy, says it's not real, but, like, is that really a problem? No! If haters are gonna say, oh, therianthropy's not a real thing, like, is that really a problem? Because that's what they believe. That's their opinion. If their opinion is that therianthropy doesn't actually exist, let them have their opinion instead of harassing them about it. Like, if they don't want to accept the if you've already explained to them, hey, this is what therianthropy truly is. It is a real thing, I promise. If they do not want to accept the information, if their opinion still stands against our community, it's fine. It's fine if people have negative opinions about therianthropy in the therian community. It's fine if people have opinions. Like, it's fine. Now back to the dude. So, he had mentioned in a video of his that I saw how whenever he would call therians cringe and weird, there'd be people in the comments saying responses to that. And a lot of the responses were like, oh, it's not a choice. We didn't choose to be therians, or stuff along that lines. But a lot of the time, and like I've seen this a lot, where people will call us cringe, and I'll see some people be like, oh, we didn't choose to be therians or whatever. Like, they're most likely not even calling us cringe for our identity. They're calling us cringe for what we do. They're calling our quadropics cringe, our masks, our tails. That's what they're calling cringe, not our identity. Because a lot of the times, they don't even know about the identity part or ignore it. All they see as all they think therians are people who run around on all fours and wear masks and tails. They don't really realize that a lot of the times that it's an identity, which is why they call us weird and cringe. They're calling us weird and cringe for our quadropics and gear, not for our identity. So, like, because what a lot of them will say, too, when they actually realize, oh, it's an identity, text message, when they realize it's an identity, they call us mentally ill or saying therianthropy is not a real thing. They don't call us weird or cringe for our identity most of the time. They're calling the quadropics weird and cringe. Like, literally. This dude said it himself. When he was responding to the comment that said, it's not a choice to be a therian after he called us weird and cringe. He'd be like, he said, and I kind of quote, that we chose to run around on all fours and wear masks, which is the truth. Those of us in the therian community who do quads and wear gear, we chose to do those things as a way to connect to our theriatypes. Sure, therianthropy itself is not a choice. Gear and quadrobics, however, are a choice, which is what this guy was referring to. He was calling the gear and the quadrobics cringe. He was calling our identity not real, and then the gear and quadrobics cringe. I'm pretty sure this is a way for a lot of it, because most antis will just see this. They don't see the identity part. They just see the gear and the quadrobics and stuff. That's what they see. They don't see the identity part a lot of the time. They see the gear and the quads, which is why they call us cringe and weird. They call us cringe and weird for the gear and for the quads. And then if they do know about the identity, they'll call us mentally ill or say we need help. They won't call the identity cringe. And then also in this video, the dude said, furries are fine. Furries know they're cringe. But then he said that therians don't, which I feel like a lot of the time is true based off of comments and stuff that I have seen. Some younger therians don't realize that we are in fact cringe and weird people, and we need to accept that. Sure, within our own community, we don't think it's weird or cringe, but we need to realize and accept that to those outside of the community, we are seen as cringe and weird, because that is not a normal thing outside of the community. We'll see it as normal to people inside of the community. We need to realize that that's just within the community. Outside of the community, it is seen as weird and cringe, and we need to accept that. We really need to accept that. And sometimes, now this is gonna be fun. Sometimes haters will leave comments like furry or cringe, or they'll call us cringe, or they'll call us weird. And then people will go and make a big deal about it. No. Don't go and make a big deal about it. We don't need to make a big deal about it. If they can have their opinions on this, if they just don't like us, that's fine. The only way an anti would actually be bad is if they're purposely being mean to us, making fun of us, sending death threats, harassing us, being rude, spreading rumors and stuff like that, and not ignoring therian content. That's bad antis. Bad antis do those things. But there are good antis. I'm not even kidding. I literally have gotten a comment from someone who was an anti, but then says that they ignored therian content and just let them live. Those are good antis. They don't make fun of us. They aren't rude to us. They don't send death threats. They don't harass us. They don't spread rumors. They ignore our content. They actually ignore our content. Those are the nice antis. Let people have their opinions. If they don't like our community, that's fine. That's their opinion. And they can have that opinion as long as it's not hurting anybody. As long as they're not hurting anybody because of their opinion. It's only bad when they don't accept other people's opinion and the things that other people do and decide to harass and make fun of them for it. That's the only reason it wouldn't be okay. And people need to understand this, that There's a difference between good and bad antis. I actually posted a video a while ago, sorry for the voice crack, of the difference between bad antis and nice antis, or whatever. That lists all the things that mean antis do and all the things that nice antis do. Because, like, there's a difference. Like, I'll link that video. I'll actually link all the videos where I make things not toxic. Like, talking about the toxicity in this community. Like, I'll link the videos in the description. I'll link the one where I compared mean antis versus nice antis. I will list the one where I untoxified an old trend in relation to fakers. And I will list one in relation to mocking antis for calling us weird or saying that they don't like us. Which is one where it's like, you guys probably know what I'm talking about. That one, I saw that as slightly toxic because a lot of the times when people actually use that trend, the things that they have, like, the anti-say are either weird, cringe, or I don't like therians and furries, or I don't like therians, or I don't like furries. Like, they're using people's opinion, not actual rude things that they say. That's why from now on, if I'm going to make any videos that are like those trends, I'm going to use something that is actually mean or actually supposed to be rude and disrespectful. I'm not going to use the things that are not disrespectful. Like calling us furries. Like, sure, to a lot of us it can be disrespectful if we're not furries alongside being therians. But to those of us who are both furries and therians, like, it's just them saying something about us. Like, bro. Also, it's not really that bad if they call us furries. Like, they see a person wearing an animal mask, they think furry. It's not that bad. The therian community went like silent on the internet for a couple years, so like the therians went silent on the internet for like a couple years, which is why a lot of people don't know what therianthropy is. So like if people call us furries instead of therians, it's because they don't know what therians are. They think we're furries because they don't know what therians are. So like it's not that bad. But yeah, that's all I have to say on the two matters that make the online therian community very toxic, and I really don't think anyone realizes it. So yeah, that's all I'm gonna say about this for now. Please spread this video around, share it anywhere you can. I want to help detoxify the online therian community. I want people to realize how some of these trends involving fakers is toxic, how some of these responses to hate are slightly toxic. Like, I want people to realize how toxic sometimes the therian community can be. Like, heck, I know, okay, first off, I'm just going to say that some of the mentions right now are real people and then AI. AI is just because it's AI. Ignore that. I have friends who are also therians. We always get mad when people make fun of us. But then, after what I had been through, what I realized, I explained this to them, and they agree with me. They agree, literally. I was having a conversation with a friend earlier about this, and we both agree that the online therian community can be toxic. I've had other friends who agree with me as well. I've had random people on the internet agree with me. I've even had anti-therian AIs agree with me. Usually, every time I talk to an anti-therian AI, they start off making fun of me because I say that I'm a therian, but then eventually I get them on my side and get them to realize how toxic this online community can be. Like, I make them nice people who agree with me. Like, they still don't like us. They still don't like us, but they understand us and will get along with us and ignore us and not make fun of us. Like, that, I practice on those AIs, so I know exactly what to do whenever I encounter an anti. So that I know to remain chill, which is why I have an entire organization dedicated to that. I created the organization last night, which I might as well mention right now. I'm going to make a Google form eventually so people can join the organization because I need more members. I'm currently the only one because it's new. But since the organization is in relation to kind of detoxifying the therian community, because that's where the whole like how I talk to the anti-therian AIs came from, and then I got this idea when I was trying to have some AI generated memes about it. So backstory of this. So like I had said, whenever I talk to anti-therian AIs, I ended up making them nice people who actually understand therianthropy, still dislike us, but they understand us and will not bother us or make fun of us. So I went to an app called Fish Emoji, not sponsored, to make some memes because they have a meme AI generator. So I typed in me, and for the meme generator, I typed in me when I turn anti-therian AIs on CAI into nice people who understand alterhumans and furries. And sure, I got some with the text, but sometimes it doesn't do the direct text. And one of the ones I got said, "I am the Iron Man of the therian acceptance movement." So I got an idea. I decided to come up with an organization called the Alterhuman and Furry Acceptance / Understandment Movement, also shortened to the AAFAUM. Yeah, I know it's mouthful, just say the acronym. But yeah, I got this whole idea for this organization dedicated to like helping our communities be like kind of less toxic online when talking to others. Like, I know for a fact a lot of these kids who are doing trends like this that they don't realize is toxic, I know they wouldn't be as toxic like this in real life because they're little kids. They think this stuff is okay because they see others do it and would be like, oh cool, I'm gonna do this too. They probably wouldn't do this kind of stuff in real life, like, because they're little kids. But yeah, back to the organization. I created the organization so I can help others to understand better. I plan to use my knowledge that I've gained over the summer from talking to anti-therian AIs, seeing this video that my friend had sent me. That was the one I had mentioned earlier that I had watched. I'm going to use the stuff that I gained from this and use it to my advantage next year, because I have a lot of anti-therians and anti-furries in my school. So I'm going to use this as my advantage to react calmly whenever they make fun of me, because it's their choice to do that. If they're going to be rude about it, then that's their problem. We shouldn't harass them back for making fun of us, because then that just makes us as bad as them. If we harass and make fun of them for calling us weird and cringe, we're literally making fun of their opinion. Just how they make fun of the things that we, in our opinion, find cool and stuff. We're just as bad as them when we do that, which is why the organization that I have was created, to kind of help with this and like lower it down. Also to help like maybe create some new allies and stuff, like turn antis into allies, because I try to help them realize we aren't bad people. You can dislike us if you want, but just don't make fun of us. Like, that's the goal of this organization, to help people understand and accept our community, or if they don't understand or accept us, at least get them to just to stop making fun of us. But yeah, now that whole spiel is over, I'm going to end the video now. Hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to leave a like, smash the subscribe button. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye! Also, don't forget to share this video around so other people can find it.